Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Vijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. What you doing? Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. But that's the way it was. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jai Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Lalita Vishaka Jaya Radhesham, Lalita Vishaka Jaya Radhesham. Jai Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Jai Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Krishna Janmastami ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stotara Satashi Shrimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. More? Yes. Give. Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jaina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So today, very auspicious appearance of Bhagavan Shri Krishna ki. And Vaishnavas, devotees, everyone wants to hear about amazing personalities. You know, that I think a lot of superheroes are famous people like to see, Superman, and they want to see all these powerful personalities. So Krishna is the most powerful personality, the richest, most beautiful, most renounced, most famous. So he has all these attributes that everyone's after. Everyone's looking for money, riches. Everyone wants to be beautiful. Let's put on some special ointment to get rid of the wrinkles so we look good. But Krishna, he always looks good. He's always very powerful. Even as a baby, he appeared. Because many people have different ideas. Who is God? What is God consciousness? What does he look like? He's the oldest. He must be an old man with gray hair and beard. Maybe he's bald. I don't know. But these are different speculations and ideas. So Krishna personally but he appears for that purpose, for serving and protecting and loving the devotees, giving them reassurance that, hey, there's a spiritual world. In Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna says that there are two natures, the eternal, spiritual, ever-existing, like the living spirit soul, Jivatma. We are that eternal spark from the spiritual world that's animating this body. This body is our vehicle. But due to this intense loving desire, Krishna can be worshipped as the Almighty, as a friend, as a son, as a lover. There are many relationships. These relationships exist in this world, so naturally we're inclined towards our children, to our friends, to our parents, to our lovers. But that real love that everyone is looking for in the material world is not satisfying. Because ultimately all the endeavors and no matter how many superheroes we see that'll come and rescue us and we feel enlivened, but the real superhero is Krishna. He is Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karnam. Eternal, ever-existing, undying. He's more beautiful than millions of cupids. He's surrounded by kalpa-vriksha trees in the spiritual kingdom. Everything is everlasting, dazzling, very beautiful. But everything in this material world is dull and temporary. This is the nature of material existence. Like in the prison house, you can't expect to have too much enjoyment there. From your cell to the mess hall to eat a little something and maybe go out, shoot a few hoops in the yard. But basically you're confined. Abrahma Bhuvanaloka Punaravartano Arjuna. From the highest planet in this material world, Brahma Loka, Siddha Loka, where all the demigods, the powerful controllers of the universe are existing, and they're praying to Krishna. When Krishna was ready to manifest, we know that Mother Earth was feeling overburdened by the demonic controllers. Now we also have demonic controllers with nuclear weapons meant to destroy humanity and society. There's no peace and no happiness. They think that simply by let us kill one another and, bodily concept of life. Oh, I'm American, I'm against the Russians, or I'm Indian, I'm against the Pakistanis, or I'm Chinese, I'm against this, that. So this bodily concept, this external covering is not the all in all. It's just a temporary manifestation. We've had billions of births. Krishna told Arjuna, you've existed in the past. All these kings, they've all existed in the past. They're existing now, continue to exist in the future. So, well, what does that mean? That means that this vehicle, this human form of life is very valuable. Krishna is giving us a lesson. He's demonstrating his power, showing he's the supreme proprietor, that everything's emanating from Krishna. He's in not only throughout the heart of every living being, he's within every atom. Nothing exists without the potency of Krishna. Krishna's power is spread everywhere throughout the world. throughout the universe. And beyond this material manifestation, all the different universes, there's a spiritual kingdom. And that place, Krishna says, doesn't need sunlight, moonlight. Everything is self-effulgent. So the spirit soul is very powerful. And Krishna comes again to awaken us to be attracted to Krishna. Just as when Krishna was preparing, when Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, all the demigods, under Bhumi's request, were asking for relief, they sat on the ocean of the Shvetadvip, the milk ocean, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu, an expansion of the Lord, through sound vibration in the heart of Brahma, although the others could not hear or see, Brahma was hearing that, yes, I'm already aware of the atrocities by King Kamsa and all the other demonic rulers who are stopping the sacrifices of the Brahmanas, those who are creating disturbance for the performance of yajna and sacrifice. So have all the demigods appear in the Yadu dynasty. All the demigods are taking birth. So before, just like I think the CM is coming today, I'm sure they have all the preliminaries, all the officers, they clean the roads and they prepare the security detail, make sure that everything is safe and sound before he appears. So Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He controls everything, but allows our independence. But he wants to attract us, natural love. So we hear how Krishna appeared in the mind of Vasudeva. See, Vasudeva and Devaki are Prishni and who are they? Prishni and Sutapa. And they perform great austerities. But Krishna, he picks his mother and father. It's not like, oh, I want to become the mother of Krishna. Prishni and Sutapa, they performed yajnas and austerities for many thousands of years. Krishna appeared before them in his four-handed form, said, you know, I want you as my son, Krishna. So Krishna appeared as Prishni Garbha, and then Aditi and Kashyapa, he appeared as Upendra, Vamanadev, Lord Vamanadev. And now for Vasudeva and Devaki, he's appearing again as Krishna. He didn't give them a liberation, but he said, after this lifetime, you're going back home, back to Godhead, back to the kingdom. Of course, they're eternally liberated souls. They're always with Krishna, always remembering Krishna. So Vasudeva, through his meditation, the Lord appeared in his heart, transferred to the heart of Devaki. Dinabandhu Prabhu will give us more details of all these things. He understands this rasa, this lila. But Krishna, for a mundaner, it may seem very complex. So much is going on that Balaram is appearing and he's transferred to Rohini, and he orders Yogamaya, which is the potency, the spiritual potency, which controls the activities in the spiritual world, and she expands herself as Mahamaya, which bewilders all the living entities in this world to think themselves to be the body, to be identifying with the family, nationality, basically the external coverings. But when Krishna transferred to Devaki's heart, she became supremely effulgent, but it was contained. Kamsa understood at this point that, he tried at first to kill Devaki when he heard the ominous voice that your sister's 8th child will kill you. So naturally he was feeling very much, how is this possible? He was doing a good deed of holding the reins of the chariot and taking Devaki and Vasudeva on their marriage day and performing his duty as a brother. But he hears this voice, and he took it as, this is a threat to my life. He wanted to immediately kill Devaki, but Vasudeva, through his intelligence, convinced, first of all, they discussed philosophy. For every living being, there's birth, old age, disease, and death. The body's always dying, but we're eternal. But Kamsa didn't want to hear the philosophy right there and then. But he understood Vasudeva is very truthful, very honorable, And Vasudeva also ultimately, just to save Devaki's life, okay, every child that's born of Devaki, I'll give to you for your determination what to do. So Vasudeva convinced Kamsa, because Kamsa was the ruler of all the different clans and all the different dynasties at the time. He was ruling in such a way that even the demigods were fearful of him. So Krishna made this arrangement. And when Krishna appeared, Shri Krishna Janmastami ki, when Krishna appeared in Mathura, in the jail where Vasudeva and Devaki were kept, he appeared in his four-armed form, holding conch shell, club, lotus, and the disc. Just to prove the Supreme Lord, I am again appearing as your son. And then Vasudeva had beautiful prayers to Krishna. If you read in Krishna books, explaining, usually when the demigods, they pray to the Lord, they just glorifying his magnanimous nature. You've come, and simply by your desire to fulfill those who are wanting to enjoy separately, you manifest yourself as Mahavishnu. And from Mahavishnu, by your breathing, unlimited universes are emanating from the pores of your body, from your nostrils. So many universes are emanating. And then Krishna enters into every universe as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And then from Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Kshirodakshai Vishnu. And Kshirodakshai Vishnu is the source of all incarnations. So you see Krishna, the quadruple expansion, then from Narayan, then Lord Balaram, Shesha. So the explanation is nicely given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Obviously, I'm not going to give it justice, but the point is that Krishna is very concerned about all living beings. He loves everyone. Not like in society, some religions, oh, we love human beings, but animals have no soul. We can just kill them, no big deal. So unfortunately, due to ignorance, people are breaking all the laws of nature and all the religious principles, slaughtering innocent animals, slaughtering babies in the womb, simply for mundane gratification, sense gratification. But the Vedic civilization, Krishna says, Vedaischa sarvairaham eva vedyo, Vedanta krit veda vedeva chaham. Krishna manifested the Vedic literature to the heart of Brahma, to Narada Muni, to Vyasadeva, Madhvacharya, Madhavendra Puri, Ishvara Puri. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself appears again and said, the surrendering process to Krishna works like this. Trinadapi sunichena tarodapi sehishnuna manina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Nadanang najanang nasundaring kavitang ba jagadisha kamaye. Mama janmani janmani ishvari bhagavat bhakti rahaitu kitvayi. I don't want wealth, I don't want followers, riches, becoming famous, prestigious. Just like sometimes we all want some position, some recognition, president, co-president, director, CFO. And, previously, thousands of years ago, even though historians don't have history more than 5,000 years ago, at that time, Mathura was the capital, and the kings, the rulers, they ruled the whole world. Bharatvarsha was not a small tract of land. It extended throughout the whole world. And all the subordinate kings paid tribute to the emperor. So that was the whole idea of the battle of Kurukshetra. The one family, the Kuru dynasty, became divided by the Pandavas and the Kauravas. So Krishna, even though he's the supreme personality of Godhead, appeared to take birth in this world and walk among the human beings. But as he says, Namang dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradama, those who are lowest of mankind, who are foolish, they think Krishna is an ordinary personality. But by his activities, Giridhari, lifting Govardhan Hill, and Gopijana Vallabha, being able to perform such miraculous activities as killing the demons, loving the devotees, and everybody in Vrindavan was totally mesmerized by Krishna. the Gopas, the Gopis, Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj. So when Krishna was going to appear, everything became auspicious. The rivers were full of water, the lakes full of lotus flowers, the breeze was nice. And even though it wasn't supposed to be a full moon because Lord Krishna appeared in the moon dynasty, it appeared like a full moon. And everyone was feeling the atmosphere of transcendental happiness, even though being restricted by Kamsa and his demonic generals to not perform yajnas. Oh, Vishnu, he is where the Brahmanas are performing yajnas and sacrifice and mantras. They wanted to stop all that. Sometimes we see when we're performing the Sankirtan, the police, no, you cannot do that. Not only that, they arrest you and put you in jail. Same way that Kamsa was arresting. Were you ever arrested in Sankirtan? 5 times. So this is the material world. It's a place of illusion and suffering, not understanding Krishna's potencies. So everything was made very, very auspicious, and people understood that something special is happening. And immediately after Krishna received prayers from Vasudeva and Devaki, she was fearful of Kamsa. She thought, no, if Kamsa knows that he may come and hurt you. Obviously, Krishna cannot be hurt by Kamsa, but still that parental affection was there. And so immediately he transformed himself as an ordinary child, and through his mystic powers, he instructed, you take me to Vrindavan, to Gokul, and even though there was so much arrangements being made, all the guards fell asleep, all the locked jails opened up, and Vasudeva took Krishna, and it was heavy rain happening. So Baladev, in the form of Ananta Shesha, gave hooded shelter to Vasudeva and Krishna. You've seen the pictures of Krishna being transported by Vasudeva to Gokul. And then the Jamuna River was raging. I think it's pretty full now, isn't it? The river? Jamuna is pretty full. So it was raging, waves, but still it parted, giving space, because we know how when Balaram wanted Jamuna to cooperate, and she was not fully aware of Balaram's potencies, then immediately she came to her senses and submitted. So in the same way, Lord Ramachandra caused the Indian Ocean to be submissive. Krishna was taken and transported to Mother Yashoda's lap, where Maya Devi, Yoga Maya, took apparently birth from Mother Yashoda. Again, we'll get that clarified from Dinabandhu, how all these things work. And due to the labor, exhaustion of labor, she didn't know whether it was a boy or a girl. So Krishna stayed in Vrindavan. Yogamaya came back with Vasudeva to Mathura, and all the, locks and all the different chains and all the doors got relocked again. And immediately, the watchmen, they were waiting, they heard the baby, they told Kamsa, oh, Devaki gave birth. So immediately he was very much disturbed in mind. Devotees who always think of Krishna, manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mang namaskuru mameva sachante pratijani priyosame. Think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your prayers to me. Thus you'll come to me without fail, I promise you this. You're my very dear friend. But demonic persons also, especially Kamsa, whether he was lying down, whether he was moving around in the palace, he was always nervous, thinking, oh, when is this Krishna, or when is this 8th child of Devaki coming to kill me? So his hair was all disheveled, and he heard, and so immediately he goes running, and although Devaki was praying, oh, this is my daughter, give her mercy, she'll marry your son, you're not destined to be killed by my daughter. So Kamsa didn't want to hear anything about it. He immediately took Yogamaya and wanted to smash her on the rock, just the way he did the 6 previous children. 7th was considered a miscarriage, but that was Lord Balaram sent to Yashoda. So Yogamaya slipped out of his hands and went into the air and said, "You fool, Kamsa. The person who's going to kill you has already appeared. You know, what you can do? You cannot do anything." And Kamsa became bewildered. How is it that this ominous voice from the gods, even we can't believe the gods nowadays, you know, maybe they lied or something, but he didn't understand all the intricacies. Krishna's very detailed. If you see, even look at a flower, the way it unfolds and the colors, and you know, what to speak of this human body, layers of skin and bones and muscles, and so everything is so intricate and so well thought out. Krishna is just, you know, he's really got that perfect transcendental intelligence to do everything. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaivar Shruyate. His potencies make everything simultaneously happen as if automatic, isn't it? It's just like you think that, oh, all this happened automatically, you know, flowers, decorations, and new dresses, and feast is happening, and more activities throughout the day. So all these happen by the potency of Krishna. So in this way, Kamsa was repentive, thinking, oh, you know, it was destiny. You should forgive me for killing your children. And Vasudeva and Devaki, being pure-hearted souls, they kind of went along with that. And Kamsa personally unlocked the chains, unlocked the door. Please, you go. But the next day, what happened? All his demonic associates, all those persons who are bad advisors, that, what is it, Mahatvaram Ahur Vimuktes, Tamodvaram, that the door of liberation is opened by taking association with sadhus, devotees, sadhu sangha, sarva shastra koi, lavamata sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoy. And the sadhus are carrying the message of Godhead from the Vedic literatures in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna's personally speaking in Bhagavad-Gita. These are the authentic books. These are the real books of knowledge. As I said, 5,000 historians have no clue what was going on before 5,000 years ago, and the anthropologists and the scientific big thinkers said 40,000 years ago, human beings came, because before that, the evolutionary process had not reached maturity. But in the Vedic literatures, we see how human civilization from millions and billions of years ago, even scientists are finding some, during their digging up the earth, they find human remains from millions of years ago. I don't know how they can calculate all these things, but we take the authority of Krishna. We don't want to speculate who is God or what is the process of achieving God, or maybe you can become God. I have a new mantra. By taking this mantra and by performing some austerities, you'll become God. And people believe that because actually they're fools. Krishna didn't, in the mystic God factory, he didn't become Krishna by performing yoga or meditation, or Krishna's always God. Before anything Krishna existed, Krishna manifests everything and Krishna winds everything up. So the message of Godhead is that we're to awaken this forgetfulness of Krishna. So we're praying to Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master, the guide for everyone, who has taken the Vedic literatures of all the great acharyas, the essence of life, the proper glorification, understanding of the Godhead, Supreme Godhead. And he, just as the Goswamis have scrutinizingly studied all the literatures to give proper, transparent guidance, brilliant. The path of bhakti is very brilliant. It's not some speculation or somebody's, in my opinion, I think it might be like this. Prabhupada never says like that. He says, according to the Shastra, according to the great authorities, Mahajano Jaina Gata Sapanta, we follow the authorities. And Parasara Muni, he glorified Krishna as possessing all the attributes of Godhead. And what to speak of Brahma, Lord Shiva, all the demigods are always eagerly praying to the Lord to be engaged in his service. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself, Lord Nityananda, Balaram himself, they appeared, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, Radha Krishna, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya. He's non-different than Radha Krishna combined, because what is that love that everyone's looking for? What is that happiness for ultimate satisfaction of my heart, my desires? What is that? So Krishna, on a very high level, he was glorifying the love of Radharani and the gopis, and he couldn't understand, he could not understand, but he wanted to experience that. And so in the color, in the radiance of Srimati Radharani, in a golden color, Lord Chaitanya appeared, Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti-yoga. He came to show ultimate renunciation. Beautiful wife, young, dependent wife and mother. She was already nervous because Vishvarup, who's also an incarnation of Godhead, he left, took sannyas, so she was feeling devastated. But still, even though Lord Chaitanya was surrendered to a mother, still for the sake of the fallen conditioned souls, in order to show the example of renunciation and also real understanding of Godhead, he personally took the sannyas order of life. But he was very strict. So we have so many rules and regulations. And Prabhupada, he, in a joking mood, said, when I tell you all these rules and regulations, you'll say, Swami, go back to India. You know, we're not interested in these. No intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, no meat eating. This is our life. This is the Western, or Eastern, now Western, Eastern is the world activities. People, they, in the name of religion and dutiful to family, they work very, very hard, sometimes foaming at the mouth. You see them, they make some pictures of trains filled with people hanging from all sides, from the top, from this. And every day they're going to work to slave. Generally, if you ask people, you like your job? You know, they can't wait to retire. They want to kill their boss. You know, they're not very happy with just working hard like a donkey. They call the ass. Isn't it the washerman puts tons and tons of cloth on the back of the donkey, and all day he's carrying this big load. Not one piece of cloth belongs to the donkey, the ass. And just for a little bit of grass. But the grass is everywhere, you know, so it's like we're conditioned by Maya, by illusion, thinking that let me work very hard and be a good person, a religious person. For what reason? For sense gratification. Because that's what it boils down to. Everyone's looking for a comfortable situation, beautiful family, nice, healthy bank balance, all the necessities of life which are acquired by the funds. So dharma, artha, kama. So you're following religious principles by taking care of family and tradition. You work really hard, make sure everybody in your household has their newest iPhone and nice car, and everybody is fully satisfied. But they don't appreciate. You can hear and see that someone may strive their whole lives to satisfy the family, mother, father, whatever, and children are neglectful, sometimes disrespectful, they go away. And despite the fact that we give our whole life and soul to satisfy on a mundane platform, there's no real happiness and no real satisfaction in the pursuit of sense gratification. So then people think, liberation. Let me follow some mystic yoga process and become liberated. So there are many, many philosophies and many people who think that they have the absolute truth. So people may also criticize, you Krishnas, you think you know it all. Krishna, I mean, if you think about it, and if you study with your logic, intelligence, and reason, which other society has the depth of understanding which Srimad Bhagavatam is giving, which Chaitanya Charitamrita is giving, which Bhagavad-Gita is giving, and the guidance of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So if one is ignorant or not interested due to intense covering of Maya then they'll speculate, oh, you're just idol worshippers, or you're, how you say, escaping from the responsibilities of society. You're not working. Prabhupada said, devotees, we work harder than the mundane karmis, but for Krishna. When Prabhupada was whipping book distribution, Sankirtan, Kirtan, devotees go out 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 hours doing Kirtan all day. They would have gloves and coins on their, because they're beating the drum for 10 hours, you know. It's like, but this was ecstatic. Devotees were so happy to chant and dance, and then distributing the literature, because this literature, we hear the Sankirtan stories. These books, these transcendental books, will awaken our bhakti. That's a process. So of course we have to water the creeper and protect it. You see some of the young plants, they have a fencing around so that the animals don't eat them or they're not trampled upon. So our heart, this Cheto Darpana Marjana, we're cleansing by what process? Harinama, 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 Eva Kevalam. This is, Lord Chaitanya understood that you cannot follow these austerities that were followed in the Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga. We don't have the intelligence. Even after a certain point, they have to write everything down, because previously people were Shrutidar. They would hear from their guru, they would assimilate, they would understand, and they would follow with determination. Now to muster up enough determination to get out of bed is difficult. You know, people, they're bored, they want to be intoxicated, they're looking for happiness, but there's none to be found. In the desert, there's no water. It's struggle, it's suffering. But real happiness, real enjoyment comes when we surrender to Krishna. My Lord, please pick me up from this ocean of birth and death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. And this is the opportunity given to us by Srila Prabhupada, by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna, Lord Balaram appeared in Gaudadesh in order to deliver. It's like the sun and the moon appearing simultaneously. And they're giving the most relishable secret of all secrets. This knowledge of Krishna consciousness is not just some dry philosophy, armchair philosophy that puts people to sleep. It's actually very enlivening. Parikshit Maharaj, by hearing Shukadeva Goswami, wanted to hear more about Krishna. How many wives did he have? What are his activities? What are his childhood activities? What are the youthful activities? How is the relationship between Mother Yashoda, Devi? So Parikshit Maharaj, although he was cursed by the Brahmana boy, he maybe was more intently listening. Now, if you knew that after class you would be killed, would you be falling asleep? No, you know. Would you be thinking about so many other things? When is this guy going to stop talking so I can get on with some real nectar from Dinabandhu Prabhu? But the philosophy and the Leela are both very, very relishable. Just imagine Parikshit Maharaj in the 9th canto hearing about the dynasty of this king and his children and their children and these children. So you're thinking, well, how's that going to do anything with Krishna consciousness? All these names of kings, and might sound mundane. But everything connected to Krishna becomes transformed. Just like an iron rod is a piece of iron. You put it in the fire, you keep it in the fire, it becomes red hot, blazing like fire, right? You touch it, you burn. So this mundane body, this external covering, if it's engaged in mundane activities, it's going to the hellish planets. Maybe if you perform good activities, you can come back as a human being, which is not that much better. But, I can go to heaven, enjoy in the celestial gardens with so many beautiful men, women, whatever. But all these are temporary, and these are distractions from the ultimate goal, because we are also Satchidananda Vigraha. Isn't that great? We're not meant to die. We're not meant to be bewildered, just to live on the bodily concept, thinking that it's okay if I live or die. No. Use our time and our energy to hear about Krishna, this Krishna Katha. Two kinds of Krishna Katha. Spoken by Krishna personally, Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna Katha. Srimad Bhagavatam, spoken by the devotee, Shukadeva Goswami, to Parikshit Maharaj, who listened with rapt attention. And every time he asked a question, Shukadeva Goswami became more enlivened. So imagine the sages in Naimisharanya are performing this 1,000-year yajna in Naimisharanya, and all the great leaders and sages are sitting together to hear the absolute truth. What is the religion for Kali Yuga now that Krishna's gone? What to do? Srimad Bhagavatam. So Sutta Goswami repeating what Shukadeva Goswami was explaining about the nature of Krishna consciousness, how great Krishna is, all the devotees, how they achieve liberation, how they transgress this birth, old age, disease, and death. And this is the real problem of life. That you have to get old, and what happens when you get old? Anybody have any old parents at home? They can't move, isn't it? And then we start forgetting, can't see so well, the teeth fall out, can't hear very well. So imagine what is our destiny of working really hard for the family, for the nation. Basically, the body just withers away, and you struggle, and depending on the consciousness, we're forced into the next body. We're forced into the next father, whether it's a dog father, a pig father, may take birth as a tree or demigod. But this is not the purpose of life. Human life is meant for going back home, back to the spiritual kingdom, and stop wandering in this material existence. Even there was a story that Srila Prabhupada, seeing the conditions of Kali Yuga, had tears in his eyes, because a devotee, a pure devotee, is titikshava karunika suhrita sarvadehanam ajata shatrava santa sarva sarabhushana. Titikshava is very tolerant, because people may not appreciate our endeavors for spreading God consciousness. We've sent people, oh, go get a job, leave me alone. And no, I have my religion, I don't need your religion. So naturally people are averse, just like Kamsa and his gang of demons were against the Vaishnavas, the sacrifices and the Brahminical activities which are satisfying to Vishnu. They don't want any part of it. They don't want others to do it either. So this is the nature. Prabhupada said, we're the pure communists, because Krishna is our leader and everything is meant for Krishna. Whereas others may not understand who is the ultimate leader, the beneficiary. What is that in the 5th chapter? Bhoktarang jagatapasang sarva loka maheshwarang suhridang sarvabhutanam gyatmamang shanti mrishchati. Shanti, everybody wants peace, right? So Bhoktarang jagatapasang. So Krishna is the proprietor of all the worlds. He's the beneficiary of all sacrifices. He's a friend of all living beings. It's like unless you're the Supreme Lord, even the advanced devotees, they can be friend to every living being, but generally we have, that person, I'm going to avoid him. No. We have our friends and enemies. But Prahlad Maharaj, he was teaching, he didn't want to propagate this friends and enemies bodily concept. Krishna, because he's the father of everyone, despite the fact that the child may be rebellious and a bit rascal, still the parent loves the child regardless. It may be an awkward situation, but still, generally speaking, even a female tigress, she loves her little cub, a cub, yeah. So we don't want to remain in this material existence. We want to follow Prabhupada. Tadviri pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanas tattva-darshanam. We want peace, we want knowledge, we want happiness. So how do we achieve that? Surrender to the Guru. We have to surrender. And what does that surrender? It means you're taking shelter. Just like Krishna was surrendered himself to Vasudeva and sheltered by Balaram. And in the sense that by taking shelter, we assist Srila Prabhupada in his mission of satisfying Srila Rupa Goswami, the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission. And Lord Chaitanya, he predicted that my name will be glorified throughout the world. Not only Bharatvarsh, but Bharatvarsh was throughout the world. So, Jare Dakotare Koho Krishna Upadesh Amaragai Guru Hoitare Desh. That our duty, our responsibility is to propagate Krishna consciousness enthusiastically. That gives strength to the person who's actually going out and preaching. It gives ultimate great benefit to the recipient of that endeavor, those who receive the books, because we're in troubled times. Even back when you're hearing the lectures of Prabhupada 45 years ago, 50 years ago, Prabhupada was saying, we're in a very difficult time. All these nations, they're armed with atomic weapons, and all people are in darkness and complete ignorance, and they have no proper guidance. And even if someone is interested in spiritual life, generally misguided by bogus swamis and yogis who are simply interested in followers and money. But it's not that we're here criticizing anyone or everyone, but all of us, all of you, all of us are very fortunate to be sitting in Sri Vrindavan Dham. Krishna came, appeared in this, from the spiritual world, Golokya Premadan, Harinam, Sankirtan. So he brought the treasure. Krishna's name is not different than Krishna. Krishna's abode is not different than Krishna. So Mathura Dham, Dwarka Dham, Vrindavan Dham, Nectar of Instruction describes the glory and the beautiful power of Vrindavan, Govardhan, Radhakund, Shamakund. So we get to hear about Radha Krishna, Radha Shama Sundar, the beauty of Krishna, many descriptions of how Krishna's body is glowing, radiant, and the jewelry, which is made beautiful by Krishna's beauty. So Krishna's calling us, Jeev Jago, Gaura Chandra Bole. So Gaura Chandra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and he wants to know, how long will you sleep in the lap of the witch called Maya? We need to get out of Maya. And the best way is to chant the Lord's holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You may not be philosophically inclined. You may not be educated under mundane considerations, but devotees are actually the most intelligent. To make that resolute determination that, yes, I want to surrender to Prabhupada, I want to hear Bhagavad-Gita without envy, jealousy, or my own interpretation, and I want to follow the order of my spiritual master by enthusiastically assisting him in his preaching mission. And how to do that? Simply by hearing, that you're sitting here and hearing something about Krishna, and you'll hear something more about Krishna. That is bhakti. Only by bhakti can we understand the Lord. And then we come to the Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, Nashochati, Nakankshati. No more lamentation, no more hankering, no more dissatisfaction, because ultimately that knowledge will brighten our very existence, and we can leave this body. Within this very body, it can be transformed like the iron rod. It's still iron rod, but it becomes red hot, radiant with heat. So we become Krishna-ized, become Krishna conscious. So, Hari. One more chanting of the holy name, and then I'm going to ask Dina Bandhu Prabhu to come in. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Janmastami ki. Hare Krishna.